Hello, all. Welcome to MotoGP Mac for a phenomenal weekend of racing in Jerez, Spain. It doesn't get any better than that. This was like good sex. I'm telling you, this is like 21-year-old good sex. It was that. Well, it lasts longer when you're 21 than an hour and a half. But you get the texture. All right.
Very good, very good. Yes, it was. It was a great weekend overall, not just the race. I think just a couple of things before we get into it. So firstly, a friend of mine contacted me during the week. Unfortunately, her husband has cancer, and it's back for the second time. So he had to get some of his mouth removed.
Oh man.
So he has to wear a plate and stuff comes down his nose when he eats and drinks. So, but obviously one of the things is that, so this is the second time getting it in the same place. So obviously the worry now is that, will it come back again? And
yeah.
So look, they don't own their own home, and I suppose as a father and a parent and all of this, your main worry is that if you kick the bucket, that your child have a child.
Yeah,
has a roof over their head. They're only in their young teens. So, look, there's a GoFundMe going around to help them to try and buy a home. Take that worry off the father and let him worry about fighting the cancer rather than fighting to stay in their own home. So, because they rent every month. So, I'm just going to put a link in the bottom here. So if you do support it, send me an email. And what I'll do as well then is I'm going to be putting a t-shirt online, and I will give anyone that donates to that 20% off the t-shirts. Just to try and get them a little bit of traction on. Also,
I'll just give you some money. Huh? I'll just give you some money. You don't have to give me a t-shirt.
That's no worries. Now, other than that, I suppose the other thing that we have to announce is we may have a special guest, or we may be doing a second podcast this week. But next Monday's podcast will have Steve Parrish. So next week is the start of Northwest 200 week. Jake, you're going to be educated, as we said.
Oh yeah,
on road racing.
Road racing, I have no idea. I just know they go straight for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, and I'll send you the links, and you can watch it. And I'm sure myself and Sleepwalker will be at the Northwest 200.
I'll check you out.
So yeah, so look, it will be good. We have another guest that will hopefully be on next week or this week actually coming. So 2 podcasts potentially this week. Steve Parrish next week. I don't know how we're going to do the race videos, because I'm going to be in the middle of a field somewhere in the north of Ireland.
No.
But
don't count on me, folks, to do the electronics. Forget it. I can't find my ass with both hands.
That's it. But look, some exciting guest conversations coming up. But on to today, I suppose, the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. Jake, what do you think?
Oh, well, phenomenal. Oh, first off, I want to get something. Like I said, I always Montgomeryville Cycle Center. I help them out as much as they can. They helped me out so much that I always to give them a shout out. In fact, they helped out. I sold a bike to a friend of mine, mint bike, and it needed an idler gear. We thought the whole thing was going to be the bike was going to be gone for 6 months. And they just busted their shoes, and it's not even in their brand. And they went above and beyond again. So if you ever want to bike, just go there. They're good straight shooters. Okay.
I'll go to my local one because
that's a bit shorter. Yeah, it's hard to get. It's hard to get. Yeah. It's hard to swim with them on the back. Anyway, but this weekend it was even right from the get go. The sprint races. I mean, everybody can't. We always say, do not look at a brand and judge them off of one race. Like Coda, it was a weird race. It was a motocross race with with pavement. But KTM has been getting right from the get-go, from the start. They've been doing better and better and better. If you notice.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that Darren Binder is a contender.
No, I mean Brad Binder.
Or Brad Binder, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that too. Oh, ironic. I was just thinking that in my head as today's race ended. I said, man, he could be contending for the title.
Even look at Dynamite Danny Pedrosa, like, wow.
Oh, yeah, I know.
How much do we miss the aliens? Like, do you know what I mean? Come back in and consistently in the top 10.
Yes. Yeah, when you're that small, you hold up for a long time. When you're that small physically, you hold up for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but talent is talent. Like,
that's what I mean. Like the talent stays there. For the smaller you are, the more longevity you have.
Like I was in awe on Friday morning. Like when he finished like fastest, I was just sitting there. I was just like it was just like looking at him going. And even Saturday, right? Like, let's be fair. Like, he doesn't need to risk anything, and he was going balls to the wall.
But he's a racer. You always go do that.
37 years old, and just fucking dynamite. But he is doing wonders in KTM, and now his bike was vastly different from the other two lads. You can see the other two lads were not, and remember, this aero that he was running is not new aero. We saw this at the end. Back. We saw this in Valencia, and we saw this in day one. You know, the little skirt at the end.
Yeah.
So I think they weren't happy with it in the testing, and it was reworked. And I think we're going to see it again tomorrow. Well, today, actually. Just so people know, we're filming this on Sunday. The test is on tomorrow, Monday. But I think we're going to see more of that. But I think they'll be very cautious to change it. But Brad Binder going into the slow corners. How in the name of Jesus did he get that stopped?
That's when you saw him. I mean, when he first came into this, that's when you could see his talent. When the bike was all over the place, and he still stayed up, and he'd have it lock. Okay.
Yeah, but you could see as he was banked over, knee on the ground, and the tires were sliding. And you're just like, he got to lose the front. Like, the front has to go.
It has to go. Yeah.
And they just like boing back up in here. It's like.
Yeah,
oh my God! But it was but the two of them. It wasn't even just. It wasn't even just Brad. Like, Jack was on it until he burns his tires. But Jack always burns his tires. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, he's there. He's in the fight. You know, I don't think Jack had a bad weekend. Really.
No.
Now, the only thing I'd say he's pretty pissed off about is that. Apparently his missus said that if he wins another race, he can buy a new boat. So I'd say he's like, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
Let me go. I'll split it with you.
Yeah, I'll buy you a fucking boat too. But no, look, I thought it was epic at the front. And then Pecco.
And as an engineering guy, it's great to see, like, they were going they're taking a tough road, keeping that, staying with, super refining old tech. But they have real strong engineers in KTM. They had to see them come to fruition. That they're
look at them off the line, for fuck's sake. Like,
the acceleration.
Yeah, but did you know that they dropped the hydraulic clutch? They're back now to a mechanical clutch, so like clutch lever, wire, and lever.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, there are advantages to it. They always say there's advantages to
they only had the hydraulic clutch so that you wouldn't have the fade later on in the race, right?
Yeah.
But you don't use the fucking clutch now anymore in the race. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's no need for it. But yeah, they're back on a mechanical clutch, which. It's good and bad, right? It's great because it gives you that extra little bit of feeling.
Yeah.
But it can be clunky and bitey, too much bite, So it was really good. I think Pecco, I think he had a solid weekend.
I know, and he looked terrible coming into it.
He did. He was up Shit's Creek without a paddle on Friday. Absolute, like you.
And I think it was him. He did. His head wasn't there. He had that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, because he went from the bike that was perfect to a bike that was too perfect to tell a bike was bad, and then all of a sudden, okay, now it's and things, guys. We always tell you things don't turn around in MotoGP in a day or a weekend or a testing session.
Yeah. So he said on Friday, and Tadazzi said that Pecco just can't feel the front end. He just can't trust the front end to roll into the corner faster. So that's why. I think you're spot on. I think he still had a little bit of a hangover from Kota.
Yeah,
Joe. He's like, I can feel it. And what his saying is that it kind of reminds me like the old Bridgestones front tire, right? You can just ride off. You can just ride off the rim. Do you know what I mean? So it's it just keeps on. So there's no warning of where you're at the edge of the tire. Does that make sense?
Yes. I understand.
It'll just keep going. So you're on your fucking side. But I just thought, I was worried this weekend that he wouldn't risk it for a biscuit. And we were talking obviously during the race and whatever. And
we're texting each other, guys. We're texting each other. Oh, there he comes. He's gonna screw himself,
But then saying that, I think he had to go with them, because I reckon that the gap with a couple of laps to go was 0.7 of a second, and in 2 laps he took 0.4 out. So he backed off.
He did back off, because when I said that to you, that he's taking up too much time, he was flying into him. He was almost running him over.
He was, but I think it was lap 15 or 15 to go. He had a big slide from the rear, and I think that was his warning to calm your nuts down now, Joe, to be and wait. And you could see it then, he just upped the pace. Now, saying that, I thought Binder was going to horse it up the inside of him in the last turn, but
no, I didn't think so, because he was closing. Takes so much because it took too much. He was going too fast. It was hard to overtake him. He could get up to him, but then there's another story when you have to pass him.
Yeah, but he had a run. But I think he duffed the run out of the second last corner. Yep. So he was on the first right-hander coming into that little complex. He made a lot of ground, but I think he carried too much speed, and then he just couldn't then turn it to get it up for the inside. But anyway, look, I think he did well. But I can tell you one thing anyway that I am taking away from the Spanish Grand Prix is that the race stewards need to be lined up and each kicked in the balls. Not shot, kicked in the balls. Because what the actual fuck?
Yeah, I mean, when Pecco passed, when Miller runs wide, Pecco takes his advantage and just goes in. It wasn't even like he was that close, right?
Yeah.
And it was a normal, I take advantage of you running wide, and they gave him a penalty on him. I said, Christ, Marc Marquez has had rougher times going through a parking lot before he got to the race.
Exactly, yeah. And it's not even just that, right? You look at the Fabio incident. Okay, that gap was always closing. Okay, but you could clearly see that Fabio's handlebar hit the back of Bezzecchi's bike.
Yep.
Right? And then it was thing. Morbidelli, I can understand Morbidelli's one, even though I do think it's a bit harsh, right? Mm-hmm. Morbidelli was on the curb. That's right. Okay. And according to racing laws, that if you're on the curb, you're out of control of your bike. Because you should never be on the curb.
Technically, you're not supposed to be on the curb.
But again, it's just like what do they fucking want, right? And this is where I am with it, is we have given Joe, so there's limited testing, right? There is concessions for manufacturers to get up there, right? Mm-hmm. We've introduced sprint races and feature races to all engage close racing for the fans and this, that, and the other. And you're fucking penalizing a fella for having a go.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then
you know what's ironic? As they're showing the replay before Fabio gets into before they hit the crash, right? Mm-hmm. You see a blue bike come by his side. It's not a blue. You see Rins come flying by like dive bombing in the first corner. He had to be going 20 miles an hour faster than everybody else.
Yeah,
Nothing happened. Okay, but Fabio. What Fabio always says is, if you're on a Honda, you don't get any penalties. He's going to be furious, absolutely furious.
Like now, look, like for me, when I look at it, right, it's if this is the way they're going to be doing it, then they need to fucking penalize people for blowing their nose, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or fucking sneezing. Like at the end of the day, it was like for Fabio, it was the opening lap of a race on a tight circuit, and this happens. Fine, give him the penalty. Okay, but when you look back at Marini hitting Bastianini,
right?
Bastianini was collateral damage. In this case, Miguel Oliveira was collateral damage. Do you know what I mean? Right. The incident was between. Like when you look at Bezzecchi, was collateral damage of Morbidelli and Alex Rica. So look, I don't know, and then just something fucking retarded. But saying that, right, wasn't it who went up the inside of Jorge Martin, and they moved him off the line and moved him out, and you don't see the fucking stewards giving. It's the exact same thing that happened between Miller and Pecco.
Right.
So, I mean, in the last corner, they moved him. Martin lost two places, I think.
Yeah. And you're was like, that Scarborough? I think it was. Yeah.
But you know what they did? They put on their dark glasses when that happened, and they didn't see that fucking one.
You know what happened? I'll bet you dollars to donuts. They saw Fabio, and they go in, and everybody's coming into their first corner. Then they do the replay, right? Boom, they give him a fine. Then they look at it again and go, you know what? That was a little premature. We overdid it, right? So here comes Pecco going in the side. Well, to justify that one, we'll make it so this one's, we'll make another one it's ridiculous, so it'll all look even, like we're being fair.
Yeah, but then that's fine. Like I think it was Jack Miller and Jorge Martin, right?
Yeah.
Penalize that one, but they didn't. Do you know what I mean? So, and then very stupid. Now, look, it was stupid out of Fabio not to be sure of his line. But when he was doing his long lap, you could see him looking to the left as he's on the exit now. He's not on the internal line, he's on the external line, right? So he's actually going further offline. And they do him because he was looking left and not looking straight. And you're just like, you for fucking real. Like, he actually was looking to see where it was safe to come out on the track or not. And you're fucking penalising him again. But he still finished ahead of Morbidelli.
Yeah.
With 2 long laps. And Morbidelli had 1, to be fair. But yeah, you could see in his interview, he's like, we have a lot of questions and we don't have any answers.
Yeah.
Very powerful statement.
Yeah, I know.
It's
then what Mir crashed out. Did he crash out twice?
He crashed twice yesterday.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have the crashes down. Twice yesterday. Once today. Was it once today?
Yeah.
And then Rins, he crashed out.
Yeah, but
Brian just left loose. Huh?
Mir's race record, I think, is 5 crashes and 3 finishes so far this year. And that kind of shows you the pig of a season that he's having. Now, it will be interesting for Bezzecchi. I don't know, did you see on Friday the engine blow up?
Yeah.
And then Saturday's race, then the bike went over and went on fire. So he could be down potentially 2 engines.
Yeah, well, it's hard to tell when they're down on engines. Like who's down on crazy. Suzuki was down 4 and nobody really knew about it, except for the 2 that blew up in front of them in the beginning.
You can actually track it, I believe. I think there's a source of where you can track it. I must check into that.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Did you see the Yamaha exhaust?
Yes. So much for you're looking for one exhaust. The V4.
No, it's still one exhaust. it just splits into two. It's not actually two separate.
Yes.
So
it's a 4 into 1 into 2. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just like it. While I'm delighted that they're trying something, longer exhaust, I would suppose, is trying to help the drivability. It only was with Franco Morbidelli, it wasn't with Fabio, which I found a little bit weird, to be honest. But it's, how do I say it? Like, why is Yamaha only looking at this now when Suzuki were running this 3 years ago?
Got me by the short hairs. I think they know it's because, so bottom line is Yamaha, they can talk all they want. They know the inline 4 is a dead end. It's Maybe not so. Like it wasn't in the car industry forever and had the same damn problem.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you look at like Engineering Explained and the videos and all that, and they'll say this problem's been around for 40 years, so they know it was coming.
Yeah, but I just
we're trying to stretch it out for money. And yeah, we all love to keep another inline 4, the last inline 4 on the track, but sentimental reasons type of thing. But we all knew that was coming one day.
Still, I just thought that it would be. I just thought. I just can't understand why Yamaha didn't look at the exhausts years ago as if to say. Yeah, like so they're bringing it out now, which is good, but I suppose it is terrible. But I suppose, look, when you look at the weekend at Yamaha,
there's nothing to save that inline 4. I've been saying that forever. The crank is too long and heavy. Now I can say it, by the way. Remember we had the ban for it's too long and heavy. You can't change that situation. It's a physics problem. It's not an engineering problem. It's a dead end.
Well, it's a major fucking problem, whatever it is. No, look, I suppose, and I'll put my hands up here. They're not as much as in the shit as Honda.
No, they're not.
Even still with that. Now, it is very clear, and I don't think this is an engine problem for Yamaha. There's something going on with the bike. Something very strange going on with the bike that when they bolt in those new tires, they're not getting the performance out of them. And that's not engine related, right?
No,
that's chassis. Right?
I think they'll figure out the chassis because they've always been pretty good. They've always been good at chassis.
Fuck it, man. Like Friday.
They're not being very quick about it, I can tell you that, but
Friday afternoon, Fabio bolted in a set of brand new tires and went 0.3 of a second faster on new soft tires compared to old ones. That's the problem. Forget the engine. Mm-hmm. Why can't they unlock the performance out of that bike? And then he comes out and he's like,
well, I think you hit that before though, because you said we were talking about that they're sacrificing the aero and acceleration. They're doing success. They're sacrificing everything to get a couple more kilometers per hour down the straights. Mm-hmm. Which keeps the press happy with, oh, why can't you build a faster engine? And the situation isn't about really horsepower. They can always get the horsepower of the engine. It's just to keep it reliable. It'll blow its guts out.
Yeah, but look, like Jerez is one of those places where the top speed doesn't matter, right? The straight is too short, right? So they can dial back that power, right? Right back down. No one's going to be looking for top speeds.
Yeah,
in Jerez, right? Like everyone will be looking at top speeds in Mugello, right? But no one will be looking at top speeds here. And it's just like they bolt in the tire. They have good race pace. Bolt in a new tire, and it's just not translating over. And it's a fundamental problem of.
Then it is odd.
Fabio, to be fair, in yesterday's first start, he made 9 places.
Yeah,
in the first 2 quarters,
right? But that was something different. He just got a nice. He got a good start. Everybody kind of bottled up when he went around him, huh?
But even today, like you could see how aggressive he has to be at the start of the race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To be fair, like I looked at him in yesterday's interview, and he just looked like he didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He just looked like it was just I have enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he does have that just two tears in a bucket.
Yeah. But he's just kind of got to the point, and you can see it when he's saying it. Is just like, I'm asking questions, I'm not getting answers, and it's just worrying because, man, who are they going to get to ride the Yamaha if he fixes up? No, look.
Yeah, I do not want. Well, he has another year in his contract, correct?
He does. Yeah.
Well, yeah, technically, yeah, they can always wipe their ass with it.
There's a seat in Ducati going this year too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't want to see. I don't want to see Yamaha lose Quartararo.
But I tell you something though, that Yamaha VR46 for 2024 looks very good.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you see today's announcement?
Yep.
So Valentino Rossi is an official brand ambassador for Yamaha.
Yes, I just saw that. If you're a brand ambassador, how can you have another team? That has to be meshed in there somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and Ducati doesn't want the extra ones. The folks, those extra bikes is just too much work. You can only get so much data. You only need so much data. You don't need 8 bikes to get all the data you need. You can do 4 is supposed to be the optimum. 4.
Yeah, but technically they do, right? Technically they have 4 GP23s.
Right.
Okay. So this year actually is more an advantage than last year.
Yes, because they can use it. The bikes are the same, so you can transfer it across.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm saying is, even if you had 8 GP23s, you can only use so much data. After a while, it just becomes too much work, and it's diminishing returns.
Yeah. Like Gigi Dell'Ini has always been.
They want out of the 8 bike deal, and Dorna is pushing to put. Did you read where they're pushing? They want other manufacturers to step up again.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen.
Maybe if they think about it, if they get Yamaha, who needs, goes away from Ducati, goes at least one team, right? So now they're down to 6 or 4 Ducati if they dump another one. But anyhow, and then it'll help Yamaha. It'll help Ducati because they have just too much work, right? Mm-hmm. The money they're giving Ducati, they'll give over to Yamaha, and if Yamaha gives them a good deal, they're getting money on both. The bottom line for costs goes down on both counts.
Oh, well, I personally myself, I think if MotoGP, if Yamaha and VR46 are going to tie up, I don't think VR46 would be paying for any machinery at all. And I don't think any team would, let's just say they didn't do a VR46, they did it with someone else. They're not in a position to be demanding whatever millions for the bikes. Do you know what I mean? They're actually in the disadvantage that their bike is not performing. Their bike is not a front running bike. So therefore they need the data more than the money.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I think personally I think it would be a lucrative deal for any team to take Yamaha, but there'll have to be an expectation and a guarantee, and that's actually what VR46 have said about Yamaha, is that there would have to be, if they were to look at it, there would have to be proper guarantees and stuff like that within it. So I don't know. I think I think it's worrying times. I think it's even more worrying times though. But even though, actually, I will give Honda credit. Bradl's bike was running new parts.
Okay, you can put new parts on it, but are they good parts?
This is new parts that we haven't seen on other bikes before.
Oh, okay. Well, new parts. Do they work? That's the problem. Who made them?
I would think it was a Honda special because it was just bolt on. Well, no, actually, yeah. They actually had a cup on the back end of the bike. It was actually like a fucking spoiler.
No, I thought it might have came with a cup holder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He stole it off a Gold Wing.
Stole it off Gold Wing. Yeah. But no, they had a cup on the back of it. Looks like they were hunting for downforce. But yeah, so look, they were trying stuff with Bradley's bike, which was good and interesting, if I'm honest.
Don't you love the commercial for Coda? Did you see that? It has rims, and he goes, I don't think it's that bad. It just needs side grip, and it needs front grip, and it needs rear grip, and what's left?
Yeah,
I not much of a commercial, you know.
I haven't seen that, but yeah, look, I think Honda is in pretty serious trouble. I think Mir is experiencing the Honda curse, big time, which is sad, like, because Mir is a fantastic rider, and I know there's other agencies or other YouTube channels putting out that apparently Honda were trying to swap
them, yeah.
Agreements. And look, that's not going to happen. No, maybe next year.
That's those well wishers, or the, like, call them, straw grabbers. It's like when Honda won Coda, you'd swear to God that they just won the title. They're back. I'm going, no, they're not. No.
Yeah.
I keep telling you guys, one race ain't gonna do it. So, and it's a motocross thing,
Yeah, and look, I think too, right? There's going to be, and I didn't realize it today, but we killed Maverick Vinales for a lot of stuff, right? But like, he was actually before the start of today's feature, I think it was 4th or 5th in the championship, and it was like he's done nothing. Do you know what I mean? But out of the public eye, he was getting there, and I think that's actually what's going to be key. This championship is the consistency. Do you know what I mean? Maybe finishing 3rd or 4th or 4th or 5th in races, but consistently doing it is going to score you the most points. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking with Bagnaia. If there's nobody in front of him, if he doesn't have a marker, and we all do this, you get on a track day and you have somebody in front of you, right? Mm-hmm. That makes you a lot better. That gives you a marker, and you start going. You'll do a half a second, 3/4 second better, right? Yeah. He has the same thing. When somebody's at a distance to get measure on, right? That's when he seems to lose it. When he tries to make up time all by himself. You know what I'm saying?
Also, when he doesn't have the marker.
He doesn't have the marker, he loses it. Then when Bender was there, and you thought, well, Christ, now he has no tire. The tires are all worn out. Now he's really pushing again. He's doomed. But he didn't. He all of a sudden, that where he was getting loosey goosey, he seemed to tighten up. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
the line started tightening up. He started doing better. He was the times were getting better.
There was certain moments during that, especially when he was fighting with Martin and Jack, where I got the old Rossi feeling. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
It felt like when Rossi Rossi and Lorenzo, remember?
Yeah. And it was just like instant punchback. Do you know what I mean? Riding wide lines to get the drive underneath, and I was just sitting there, and then I was like, he got the penalty with Jack, and then I was actually thinking to myself, what is next, Joe, for these riders when you're battling with someone, when you're on the inside line, and you show them the edge of the track, you're quite fucking entitled to show them the edge of the track. Are they now going to start penalising riders like that? And I was just like, please, just don't be letting this shit happen. And then I was just watching it, because there's a certain amount of rubbing is racing that you don't mind. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, and during that section when I was watching it, when I had that Rossi feeling, do you know what I mean? I got the feeling that a bit of rubbing was fine. Do you know what I mean? That boat riders were like, yeah, okay. Do you know what I mean? But
as long as it's controlled and it's not a bash pass, I call it, when you bash into somebody to pass them.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a Lorenzo corner, isn't it? Then
Yeah.
Lorenzo Marquez or Rossi and Gibernau corner. But look, like I suppose, look, there has to be a bit of rubbing. But I do think, I was very, very impressed with Pecco today, and I think that's kind of the fun thing with Pecco, is that you just never fucking know
what he's going to be. Yeah.
He's very much so like Bruce Anstine from road racing. Bruce could wake up today and say, I'm going to fucking smoke everyone. That's it. He'll do it. Do you know what I mean? And then he'd wake up one day and he'd be like, and he'd finish 10th.
Yeah, but Pecco wasn't even talking like that, though. He was like, I don't know. I still feel a little apprehensive. I'm like, oh, man, he's done.
Yeah, and it's
But the KTMs, they were the story of Jerez.
Yeah, and you do realize that Raul Fernandez lost out again to Augusto Fernandez.
Yeah,
on a KTM, what a gas.
Yeah, he was the sole rider that was sole regular rider that was in with the Hondas, which were the last four. Hondas were like the last four riders.
Yeah, Honda just didn't have a good day. Just weekend. Do you know what I mean?
Last 2 days, it's back to normal. Let's put it that way.
Normal service is returned. Yeah, no. Kind of tends to happen though, when you win one race, you tend to become a zero in the next race.
No, it shouldn't be that way. Come on.
It's not kind of normal. Do you know what I mean? Pecco in Portimao, then Pecco in Argentina.
Yeah, that's a new thing, but it shouldn't be that way.
Pecco in Cota, Pecco in Jerez. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But no, like I think, I'm still a bit trying to download what the fuck is going on with the KTMs. How it has my mind blown how they can turn just the way. Like they showed a slow motion of Binder, and it was like the fucking bike just like hinged in the middle. Do you know what I mean?
That's the way he rides, though. He rode the Moto2 bike like that.
But no, but you could see the front wheel sliding, the rear wheel sliding, and you're like, the knee was on the ground, and you're just going, one of them has to pop out. Do you know what I mean? It's like a bone, right? Something's going to pop.
Something's got to give.
And it is like a bigger boat. It was like the middle of the frame just had like a door hinge in it, and it just popped up, and it was like, okay, and next to it just like boop, tires out and away off. And he still made the apex. Do you know what I mean? You could see Jack turning on the inside of him, so he was a little bit wide, but he was maybe 18 inches, 24 inches offline. You're just like, fuck me. Like,
remember the start of the year? I said the top tube on the KTM, I thought it was aluminum because it came down because there was no weld. Maybe there isn't. Maybe it's just hanging in there so the thing can bend in the middle.
Yeah, it'll probably fucking drop out too.
There's no weld there. It just bends. It just goes in and out.
Yeah, it was just. I just can't believe it, to be quite honest. And yeah, I think the race. Like I am all actually for an old bit of it. No, there's aggression and then there's fucking fighting. Do you know what I mean? And fighting is like a lot of people were giving out about Marquez and what he did in Portugal. And for me, Marquez had a warning the lap before at the very same corner, the front wheel locked, and he got away with it. He knew he was on hard tires, so he knew it was going to take a good few laps for that tire to come up. And then he got penalised for that accident. And that's too far, in my view. Did he mean to cause the accident? No, but he did. Do you know what I mean?
And he's had a record of it his whole career. It's his time. Yeah. It's one of them things like, well, it's time to stop. You know, even if you're a Marquez fan, like I'm a Marquez fan, but I'm going, listen, there's time. He has to stop. I mean, if Marquez was at this race with these marshals, okay, he would have been pushed back to dead last. I'm sorry, we have a penalty. We have another penalty. I mean, he'd have been push back like
Oh yeah. He wouldn't even have got out of pit lane.
Yeah. But what about, hey, one thing when we're skipping, what about Aprilia? Aprilia has a bike that's running well, has the acceleration, it has the turning, and talk about the curse. They have like the Ducati rider curse.
No, I was looking specifically at the front end of the bike in the turns, and it looks to me as that they cannot get that front end of the bike in.
You think so? I could see it turning in.
It was much wider than even the Ducati. And the Ducati of Pecco.
I was going to say Pecco's doing that on purpose too, because you can tell
Pecco's
when you're showing that with Martin, he's tucking it in, and Pecco's doing it on purpose and putting it a long wider line.
Pecco is actually a blend of, and similar to Rins, a blend of the V4 and inline 4 riding style.
Yeah, but you know what? I noticed that because you said that the other week, that in this race he was tucking it in tighter. Did you notice that?
He wasn't going as wide, except when he was battling. When he was battling, he was changing his line to go a different line to start more focused on corner exit than corner entry.
I thought he was just defending, or maybe he was doing both.
Yeah, he was more focused on getting, because he knew, like, with the 2 laps to go, he knew Brad was going to try something. Do you know what I mean? And Brad is a fucking demon on the brake, so he knew he had to get off the corners better than getting into the corners. But I think Aprilia's it's definitely cursed for Miguel Oliveira.
Jesus, yeah, I know. What does that thing have? Magnets on it?
And yeah, Maverick did well on start 1. I think he was up into 5th place, but he duffed start 2. Now, it was funny, actually. He was starting all weekend. Every session he left the pit lane, he did a practice start. Do you know that?
Yeah.
It's just like he really cannot cope with getting the bike off the line. He did well, but yeah, I don't think it's the Ducati curse. I think because they've narrowed that bike, I think it's not as handling as. I think that has affected the handling. Do you know what I mean? Big time. That bike is narrower than the predecessor.
Did you see Spargo lost his chain?
Did he?
He didn't finish. No.
Alex,
remember we talking about them making dumbass mistakes? Yeah, you have guys with engineering doctorates, and they're going, yeah, but can Buford put the chain on? Yeah, I always wanted to put a chain on, boss.
I thought he did. No, Alicia Spargo finished. It was Maverick didn't.
No, I think I thought it was Spargo where the chain came off.
In this race, no.
Yeah, it was laying in the street. They showed a picture of it right at the end. They were like, "Where is he? Where is he?" And then he's going down the thing, and they did a replay. He's going by, and the chain came off because he's going by, and I think the engine starts.
This must be after he's crossed the line, though, is it?
I think it was right before he crossed the line. He coasted, or he didn't make it.
No, he definitely didn't make it. So I called him out when I called him out during the video. I'm sure. I'll check it. I'll double check it there.
Well, one of the two, regardless of this person, they lost the chain.
Maverick Vinales didn't finish anyway, for sure. I definitely know that. No, it didn't come up that he crashed, so it could be just Maverick.
Yeah, but they were saying that they thought he crashed, and they were like, "Oh no, he didn't crash."
Yeah, where is no, that could have been it. It could have been Maverick. So look, I have the results here. So no, Alicia Spargo finished 5th, 4 seconds behind.
Okay,
but Maverick.
Right. It had to be Maverick then.
Yeah, Maverick didn't finish.
But but regardless, the chain is a bad chain. I mean, it could be. I was thinking that the other day. Aprilia is such a small company, right? They're a dot in the wall compared to everybody else. Mm. Then they went from, this is one thing I feared last year, that they were going from one team to 2 teams. Could it be too much work? Like when Ducati had 8 bikes and it was just too much work. Now, you say, well, it's never too much work for just to have 4. It is when you're such a small company.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. And there's where you get stupid mistakes and bad wiring and somebody didn't put the link in the chain right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things. And look, it just could be act of God too that the link failed. You know what I mean? And it mightn't be. But I think, I think it was a little bit weird. I also think it was very weird. Marc Marquez's. We didn't actually talk about this, but Marc Marquez not riding.
Yeah,
I think it's very weird.
Yeah,
and a lot of what I do know though, right? If you go to Instagram, it used to say HRC MotoGP rider.
Mm-hmm.
Now it just says MotoGP rider. He's dropped HRC.
Really?
Yeah. Now, that could be just right, but
but somebody had to go take that out, correct?
Correct.
You're the computer guy, so somebody had to go in there and take that out. It just doesn't fall off.
No, it doesn't fall off. You have to delete it out manually. But I just think it was very interesting. Like, okay, the break is not a very serious break. Obviously, there's something else going on that they haven't told us. Because look, at the end of the day, the first thing that popped into my head when I heard it was, is this Marquez saying to himself, this year hasn't gone right for me yet. The next circuit coming up is a circuit where everything that has for the past 3 years gone wrong started. Am I fucking best now just to say I'm going to skip this race?
You think you got the heebie-jeebies?
I wonder because all riders have the fear. All riders get the fear, and is it the fear? I know it sounds a bit crazy that he.
No. We've all got that. You ever go on your bike and you go to take a ride, and all of a sudden you get that heebie-jeebies before you go out in the ride, And invariably, it seems like somebody pulls out in front of you.
But it was like the first thing that I thought when I read it was, or when I read it, and it was just like, is this him that he is injured, or is this him kind of saying, well, I'm not at 100%, because like this fella would ride at 20%. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's not overnight going to turn around looking at what he did in Portugal and all of a sudden regain common sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he certainly doesn't want to lose another 25 points or whatever it is, 37 points now in the championship, unless he's A, either given up for the championship, or B, he's spooked.
Or maybe he's saving himself for the next manufacturer. Could be.
Well, as I've said already, though, that the conversation has already started with KTM.
Yeah, I was going to say something about KTM. I'm sure he's looking at the KTM too, going, "Wow, they're doing real well.
I can make that bike turn better."
Yes, yeah. And we all think the same thing. You know what? If it was Marc Marquez on that KTM right now, okay, he jumped on that bike. Would he win the title? And most of us would say, yeah.
He'd be in the fight for sure. He definitely would. The only thing that I really do wonder about the KTM.
Yeah, somebody had in this thing. They said
the rear tire issue.
The rear tire issue.
They're always.
That's been a while back. I thought they had that fixed.
No, they're still always like. If you look at it, Binder is a little bit smarter with the rear tire, but you could see 3 laps to go. He was smoking the shit out of that tire. The grip was gone. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I do think Pecco was fairly switched on. He saw it. Do you know what I mean? So he knew he didn't have too much rear tire.
He said it. Binder said it after the race. He said, "I had no rear tire."
Yeah, and if they can sort that it can give them another 2 laps, even if they have to fight in last lap with no tire. Do you know what I mean? But with 3 or 4 laps to go, it's still a little bit too much to to have to fight with.
Right.
I think I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year to see Augusto Fernandez in the top 10 if this keeps going. The rookie.
Yeah, I know. I don't know about that. That's a good stretch, but
if he gets into the fucking top 10, Jake, in any race towards the end of the season, I'd take my head off to him. I'd be like, definitely deserve your Rookie of the Year title.
oh yeah, but it's looking like KTM is going to be fighting for the title. Stephen Massey must be doing, one of our members, folks. He must be doing backflips because he's been saying it all year.
And it's so strange because up even to Portimao test, we were like, they're in the shit. But it actually wasn't. And
see, folks, don't pay too much attention to this test. Remember the test? The Yamaha was flying, the Honda was flying, the KTM sucked, the Ducati had something they said it was wrong, and look what happened. Smoke and mirrors.
Well, yeah, but Ducati actually came out and said that he said, we never actually put the full bike together until this weekend.
No.
Yeah. Until the weekend of Portimao. He's like, they've never actually run this combination of bike, which was the final spec of bike. Imagine that. Because remember, they were going along, like their aero had completely changed between Valencia and the Sepang test.
Yeah, I know their aero's been changing constantly.
Yeah. And they were going along with a completely different, I'll send John pictures in WhatsApp, but they were going completely along the lines of the aero that they were running with Danny today, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden that changed to the bunny ears down the bottom, do you know what I mean? And the belly pan of the bike wasn't as sophisticated. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at Danny's one, it's really sophisticated. There's vents and all of this, that and the other, do you know what I mean? But there's also then the lip, which I just found very interesting. So there was something not right, and they pulled the aero back in the tests, and that's when they had to develop that other aero. But I definitely thought it's frightening to see, and this is, I suppose, this is the other thing. Like you mentioned to me the other day, you know what I mean? Things will get better for Yamaha, but if you look at Yamaha, they're so far behind. Do you know what I mean? Look at the aero is bolt on. They're using fucking 2022's aero. Do you know what I mean? And it's just,
dude, I'm telling you, the Japanese are behind the Europeans in all areas, and that goes for production bikes too. I didn't pull that figure out of my ass when I said they haven't won a comparison in 15 years straight.
Yeah, I think it's just, I just think it's very worrying for Yamaha, very worrying for Honda. KTM are coming out of the traps now, and they're I think they're going to be contenders. And I think it's kind of funny though, as well, when I look at it, all the people bitching and moaning about 8 Ducatis on the grid.
The grid, yeah.
So let's look at Saturday's top 6.
Yeah,
it was 3 KTMs.
Yep.
Let's look at today's top 7. It's 3 KTMs.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're not really bitching about Ducati. They just want to have their bike, their Japanese bike in their garage win. Next they'll be complaining about the KTM. You wait and see.
Yeah, they probably will do that.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, they had 5 out. But now, saying that, look, the only asterisk that I'll put on this race was KTM were testing there 2 weeks ago. I know Yamaha and Honda were, but KTM, and I think Aprilia was. So they would expect a little bit more out of Aprilia, but they did do a lot of testing around that track very recently. So it will be interesting. Can KTM be battling at the front in the next race where they don't have testing? That'll be a real signature for me to say, not only have they arrived, but they're here to play. Do you know what I mean? Sprint races for me suit Darren Binder to the ground. And Jack, to be fair.
Yeah, Brad Binder. I'll get you down, Ryan. I'll get Brad Binder.
Brad, sorry. Why have I done
All right, we'll get you down. I say Japanese and you say Daryl Binder.
Yeah, can you say Morbidelli?
Morbidelli?
Hey,
I
always
forget him. It's like Morbid. Who the hell is he? Yeah, Italian names.
So yeah. Look, I just think it'll be interesting watching the next race for that. Without testing, what can they do?
Yeah, I mean, but this race was unbelievable. I mean, we all needed a race like this where it was just action the whole freaking weekend.
I just think you can.
And I'm in the rain too. It's rained for the past 5 days. I'm going insane.
Well, yeah, listen, you should try to move to Ireland.
Oh, and it hasn't rained. It's been 50 degrees. It's been like 70 for a minute and a half. I go out and I ride. Like, remember last weekend I got to ride, but it wasn't that long. But I don't know. I was just anyhow.
First
I have all these bikes and I want to ride them, damn it. Even though if I can't ride very well, I still want to ride them. My skills are shot, folks.
That's it. Well, sure, look, we're all getting old anyway. Radio, I think we'll wrap it up there anyway for this week, Jakey Poo.
Oh, the only more thing is, what happened to Bastianini? What happened to these young kids anymore? He didn't race for the weekend just because he broke his.
Now, to be fair, right? He did a test on Monday. He did a test in Misano on a V4, Panigale V4. And he said after around lap 8 or lap 9, he's like, I had nothing left in my right arm. He's like,
really?
I was done.
Because I saw an article on him riding that, and he said, and then that article said everything was fine.
He said they said everything was fine, but he then went on, and Chibati said Friday that I think, but like you knew it as soon as he went out Friday practice, he was way off the pace, and you knew that, like, let's just say on average everyone did 15 laps, he did like 6. So you knew it was coming, do you know what I mean? But apparently he put himself at about 60% repaired.
Yeah.
Which, look, they should.
What did he say? He thinks he was going to be fully ready for the next race.
Mugello is where they're really aiming for. That's his home race.
Right.
So that's where
is that the next race or the race after?
I think it's the race after. I think it's 4 weeks time.
So Pecco's holding up the whole Ducati
factory side of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a goofy season. I was telling you, it's topsy turvy.
Well, like Pecco is like we've had 8 races, isn't it? Pecco's the only one that has won the most races.
Yeah.
After that, there's been all different winners. So I still think like the sprint is great, but I just think there's too many of them. Do you know what I mean? I think Formula One had the right balance where there's only a few weekends, so everyone gets a little bit fucking hyped up. Do you know what I mean? To go for broke, but look, don't get me wrong. I love the sprint. I love the fact that you're getting an extra race in there. Just not sure. Is it too many points? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean,
37 points a weekend.
That was the other thing of like Marquez. Like, why would he leave? I mean, he still has a shot, believe it or not. If the bike was good, and he was good to win the title because there's like 700 points up for grabs.
Yeah. So look,
it's just strange. And that's neat information about the HRC thing. That was taken off his MotoGP rider. That's a stupid little thing. Good pickup on that. You know,
I'm good at these things. I'd be stocking lots of stuff like that.
Yeah,
but no, look,
I think your Yamaha is going to do better. Mark my words. That
well, look, I don't think
now. Fabio's
going
to come back.
He's going to keep. He can do much worse, to be honest.
That Fabio's going to push, and he'll just. It's like The frog in the cream, as they used to say. He keeps pushing to it, made it into a cheese, and he gets out of the can. He's going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing.
What fucking stories were you told growing up?
That was. You never heard about the no? When I say frog, the mouse that falls into the cream. The two mice fall into the cream, and one sits there and he just drowns, and the other one just churns so much that he turns it into cheese, and he walks in, he crawls out. It's a story for kids that if you work hard, you succeed. My old man made me work when I was like, 5 years old. You know what I mean? I had that dad with he had a whip and a beer.
Oh, I tell you, to my small fella during the week. Well, he's not really small, he's 12. So I told him that I would give him a tenner if he would wash the car.
Wow.
And he was like, all right, okay.
I'll wash your car for 10.
And he went out anyway and he washed the car and he made an absolute complete balls of it, right? White marks and misfits and whatever. So I brought the car up anyway and I got the car washed. And I came back down and I gave him €4 for washing the car. And he's like, hey, you told me that you'd give me 10. I was like, yeah, but I had to go and get the car washed, so I used €6 from that 10.
Not good. They taught him a lesson. My old man wouldn't give you 4, but anyhow.
Then I got frowned upon very fiercely by herself, so he got his 10.
Oh man.
Anyway, right.
There's going to be women now. There's going to be a woman.
Yeah.
Now in Europe now, if a guy says he's a woman, can he run in the series and win it? And
no, they got rid of that from the Olympics. So I would presume that's going to come across, or the European Federation. Now look, I'm not going to be woman bashing on it, right? And I just think that this is a PR stunt like Formula One have done.
It is a PR stunt, yeah.
Have created it. I don't mind.
Hey, let them go at it. What the hell?
I've seen a lot of very fast women on motorbikes in Ireland and the UK racing, and they're there by merit, right?
Right.
And I have no problem if a woman wants to come into MotoGP. She has the talent to get there.
Yeah.
Now there is barriers, and I 100% admit this, that motorcycle racing is seen as a more male-dominated sport. But I don't think, to be honest, if I was a woman, I'd be a little bit maybe pissed off at the fact that they're farming us off to this women's only series and whatever. What's the outcome of this series? You become a world champion, do you get a Moto3 ride? What?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
You can't. Because women don't have their reflexes aren't as fast.
Well, look, if they're
not as strong.
If they're there on merit, do you know what I mean? Why not? Do you know what I mean? But there's a couple. There's a
but they're not going to be able to compete if your reflexes aren't as fast and you're not as strong.
Listen, look, Anna, was it Anna? Anna Carrasco.
Yeah, but she didn't have anybody to race against either.
She was world champion of the not Super Sport. What's the cup below that?
So it was the 125 class for
no, it wasn't 125. No, it was the Super Sport
or 250 or something like that. Yeah,
Super Sport 300.
They're
a heavy bike, and she fucking owned a few of those fellas out there. Do you know what I mean? She beat them up, and that's what I'm saying. I have no feelings on it one way or the other. If they're there on merit, I think it's more for them.
Yeah, but I don't believe letting the men in. If they're going to have a woman's thing, don't let a man in.
No, I don't think that'll happen at all. I genuinely don't, because I know within some of the sports federations here, they have banned that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, good.
You can't. What was one of them trying to do there is that if he was born a man and can change to a woman and then enter into a wrestling contest or something.
The power lifter in Canada? You saw that one.
Power lifter, yeah. One of them. So look, I don't think that will happen anyway, but look, we never know. Someone may try it.
Yeah, today's goofy crap. So
yeah. Anyway,
but
with that,
great to have a phenomenal race weekend.
Yes, and looking forward to many more.
And people, tell me how you think about the. What do you think about the KTM becoming? What do you think KTM's going to figure in the championship this year in the title? How do you think they're gonna finish up? Take a guesstimate.
Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below.
There you go.
Be back again next week with another podcast. See you later, folks.
Hasta la vista.